American Political Culture, a presentation by Alexa Musk from Muskegon Community College's American Government class with Professor Kurt Troutman. There are many things that go into forming the diverse political culture shown in the United States today. For example, the history of this culture has paved the way for politics today. The vast amounts of immigrants coming to America to escape persecution or find a better life for themselves or their families have created the democracy in the United States. There are three subcultures of political culture found in the United States today, and they are individualistic, moralistic, and traditionalistic. These subcultures vary based on location and represent the different feelings a society has on American government. These have helped shape the many core values that are expressed throughout the presentation, representing the things about this country that Americans value and believe in. American political culture has helped form the many different political beliefs we have today. The American Creed, as discussed later, shows the many freedoms we have. And in the photo, you can see many Americans participating in politics at the White House. What is political culture? Political culture is a nation's political personality. It is based off the many traits that define a society. For example, the attitudes, values, and beliefs a society has for their political system. These traits represent how a society feels about their current political system. This can be negative or positive. Attitudes are the feelings one has about their government. Beliefs form values, and values are what a society feels is just and good. For example, a value that America has is equality. These beliefs, values, and attitudes are passed down generationally from one society to another. A political culture sets the boundaries on what is acceptable when it comes to political behavior. For example, accepting the results of an election is a boundary that has been set on American political culture. A political culture can play into the political beliefs one has. The history of American political culture. America does not have a common ancestor, making the political culture here so unique. The value and strength of the political culture is derived from the diversity of the population. The diverse population comes from immigrants leaving their home country to escape religious and political persecution, as well as seeking a better life for themselves and their families. Many were in search of improved economic situations. This is what helped shape the core values of the United States today. For example, the majority rule is a core value that was shaped by the diversity. The majority rule highlights the importance of popular sovereignty, where people are able to decide their own politics and who leads them. Essentially, this is the will of the people. Limited government is another core value that has been shaped by diversity. This is stating that the least amount of government interaction is the best option. The checks and balances system, as well as the separation of powers, promotes the limited government. Individualism is the last core value, and it adds emphasis on the responsibility individuals in the United States have. This promotes and rewards individuals based on responsibility. This value shows that America is reliant on a capitalist economy and free market system. American political subcultures. There are three main political subcultures in the United States today: individualistic, moralistic, and traditionalistic. Daniel Elazar introduced these three subcultures. Individualistic is a group of people who fit into this subculture because they are skeptical of authority, they want a limited government, and they like rare interaction of the government. They also believe in reliance on the marketplace. The moralistic subculture are those who have completely opposite beliefs than those of the individualistic subculture. Those who are moralistic believe that the government can advance public interest and the government is a positive force for citizens. They believe that it is a citizen's duty to participate in politics. The traditional subculture is in the middle of the individualistic and the moralistic subculture. They have moderate views of the marketplace and government. They believe that those who are elite in society should participate in politics and run for office. Citizens are not expected to participate in politics or do anything like voting because they are not considered elite. The photo attached shows where each state fits into these subcultures. The pink is the moralistic subculture, the green is the individualistic subculture, and the yellow is the traditionalistic subculture. The American Creed. The American Creed is considered the cement that holds a nation together. It is made up of the documents granting freedom for America and the citizens in America. The Declaration of Independence and the Constitution are two major parts of this. The Declaration of Independence was a document created when the colonies declared themselves separated from Great Britain. This document states the principles of democracy, and it declared America its own country. The Constitution created the national government for America with the three branches of government: the executive branch, the judicial branch, and the legislative branch. It also created a system of checks and balances and a separation of powers, dividing the power between the government and the states. It also protects the liberties of the American people. Exceptionalism is a view that America's exceptional development as a nation has contributed to its own special place in the world. The American Creed also includes patriotism, the love of one country and the respect for the symbols and principles. These principles and documents highlight the love of the country that the American people have and the gratefulness of the freedoms that they have in America. Key elements of American political culture. There are 6 key elements that contribute to the making of the United States political culture. Liberty is showing that the United States citizens believe they are free to make choices in most aspects of their life. Equality is showing that everyone is regarded as an equal before the law. There have been a lot of improvements made regarding minorities and women getting more equality when it comes to the government. For example, the 15th Amendment giving voting rights to all Americans, and the 19th Amendment giving voting rights to women. The 26th Amendment also changed the voting age to 18 for all citizens. These amendments have paid into the key element democracy. Democracy is the idea that citizens are expected to vote on things. It is their civic duty. Another key element is individualism. As spoken about earlier, this is the idea that Americans tend to think individuals are responsible for themselves, especially other individuals. Each citizen is responsible for their own actions. Unity refers to the American support of the republic and democracy, even if they disagree with one another about policies. Diversity refers to the fact that Americans have many different cultural traditions and hold a variety of values. Nearly all Americans descended from immigrants, and many of them take pride in their heritage and cultural history. These tie together because it is something that citizens must accept, the differences between one another. American political culture and ethnic pluralism. Ethnic pluralism is the peaceful coexistence of multiple ethnic groups as we have in America. In the article, Unity and Diversity in American Political Culture, an exploratory study of the national conversation on American pluralism identity, the authors have found that there are large differences with ethnic and racial groups over affirmative action, domestic social groups, and the progress towards racial equality. This plays into a large part of the American political culture because one of the core values in America today is equality. With the many racial and ethnic differences shown today, there are many different views and feelings of political culture, and they will be shown based on these different groups of people. For example, the study found that racial minorities and women have a more negative view of the feelings of government. This is because there is still not equality in the United States for racial minorities and women. The political culture of this group is negative and differs from the feelings of those men and white Americans who have equality. The map attached shows the racial diversity in each state, and this shows where ethnic pluralism is existing in the United States today. Political beliefs play into the American political culture. The American political culture can do a lot to play into the beliefs Americans have in politics. Although there is a common political culture in the United States, many Americans still have different beliefs on how public officials should act, what policies should be passed, and who should be elected for government. For example, those who have more liberal views will vote for the Democratic candidate of an election, and those who are more conservative will most likely vote for the Republican candidate. There are many factors that can contribute to the political beliefs of a person. For example, family, religion, gender, or race. An independent is a voter who votes on candidates based on issues rather than the basis of a political ideology. These different political views are accepted by America, and they are the reason the government is run as a democracy, and citizens have the ability to vote. So America is run by what the majority of the people want. In the photo attached, you can see which states typically vote Democratic, Independent, or Republican. Those who are Democratic typically have a more negative view of the government, and those who are Republican typically have a more positive view of government but want a smaller government with more government interaction. The visual aspects of the American political culture. Rituals, traditions, and symbols play into a large part of a nation's political culture. The many rituals, symbols, and traditions a country have are passed down generationally like a political culture is. They represent the visual aspects of the political culture. For example, as pictured in the top right corner, a common ritual in the United States is the singing of the national anthem before a sporting event. The national anthem represents the traditions, history, and beliefs of the nation. It is sang to show patriotism. Some important symbols of the American political culture are the American flag, a bald eagle, and the Statue of Liberty. The bald eagle is pictured in the bottom left corner, and it is the country's emblem. It is meant to be a symbol of America's supreme power and authority. The Statue of Liberty is pictured in the bottom right corner, and this is a representation of freedom. Pictured in the top left corner is the American flag. The stripes on the American flag represent the initial 13 colonies, and the stars on the flag represent each of the 50 states. A tradition in the United States is the celebration of the 4th of July. In the United States, Americans light fireworks on the 4th of July in celebration of America's founding. Another common tradition Americans have is the celebration of Thanksgiving. This celebration is representing the story of the Pilgrim's meal with Native Americans. As stated many times in the presentation, political culture is a nation's political personality, representing the feelings a society has towards its political system. It is important for the setting of boundaries of acceptable political behavior and helping form political beliefs. The political culture in America has been formed through the diversity of the population. America does not have a common ancestor, so the political culture has been formed by the immigrants coming to America to escape religious and political persecution, as well as finding a better life with economic opportunities for themselves and their families. This diverse population has played into the many core values America has today. For example, liberty, equality, democracy, unity, and diversity. These core values are important for keeping the country in order today. Another important aspect of the political culture stated in the presentation is the American Creed. The American Creed is a glue holding the culture together and is made up of the many freedoms we have today. The Declaration of Independence and the Constitution outline these freedoms for Americans. There are also many visual aspects like rituals, symbols, and traditions we practice in our day-to-day lives that help contribute to the culture. Each of these things contribute to the political beliefs we have today and keep the democracy in order. Research for this presentation was found in the article Political Culture by T.M. Sell, The American Creed by David Fellman, Explaining Political Differences Using Political Culture by J. Rausch, Unity and Diversity in Political Culture, an exploratory study about the national conversation on American pluralism and identity by Richard Meerman, and Political Culture 6.1 by the University of Minnesota, and American Political Culture in Comparative Perspective by Richard Wilson.